Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming my July Rooted video. If you're not familiar with this series, I will link the entire playlist up above. In a nutshell, about 2 years ago, I moved to this small town from a big bustling city, and the past couple of years have been a struggle to say the least in finding friends here and a community and just feeling rooted. So in 2017, I made the word rooted my word for the year, and that's been my focus this year, is just feeling more planted and more rooted and more settled here in this small town despite the difficulties. So there's a very first video that explains the whole situation at large, and then ever since January I've been doing monthly check-ins, and this is July's check-in. Now typically I try to wait until the very last day of the month to film this video, but I'm not able to do that because Riley and I, Riley is my husband, we are going on a 2-year anniversary trip to Seattle, Washington at the end of this week, and the last day of July is actually our anniversary. Our anniversary is July 31st, and that's next Tuesday. So I'm filming this about a week early because we're going to be out of town and I just want to have it up. But there's not going to be a whole lot going on here in the next week because we're not going to be here anyway. So I figured it wasn't too big of a deal. So before I jump into the bulk of this video, I just have to say thank you so very much to all of you who watched last month's video, which I will link above, in which I poured out my heart and cried. I am just so thankful for the flood of support that I received in response to that video. Not only people who were feeling empathetic and compassionate and just being really kind, but so many of you were brave enough to share your own stories with me, whether it was in the comment section on YouTube, in the comment section on my blog, through a private email or an Instagram direct message. I got so many like messages from people who just get it, who are in similar positions and similar situations all around the world and all over the US, and I just can't explain to you how deeply and truly thankful I am for that. It can feel a little, it is definitely a lonely experience, but I can also feel a little crazy feeling like I'm the only one who's going through it. So when I'm able to hear from some of you who are in a very similar position, even if it's not the exact same scenario, but you just get what I'm feeling because you're in some kind of similar situation, it is so healing to me. I just really appreciate your vulnerability and just your choice to reach out to me. I've gotten letters in the mail, my P.O. box, my Instagram, Facebook, all of those links are below. So if you want to chat, I am super responsive. I am so into getting to know y'all. I know that you are getting to know me through this video series and maybe some of the other content that I've put online, but I'm talking to a camera right now. So it is such a blessing when I actually get to know the people who are watching my content and the people who can relate to it. So I just want to give you a huge hug virtually and say thank you so very much for all of your support last month. I just appreciate it more than you will ever know. I appreciate it so much. Okay, now let's get into what went on this month in July. I said last month in June that I felt like there was a lot of breakthrough happening and I was finally starting to feel the fog lift and the darkness and the difficulty of the past couple of years, and I would say that definitely rings true this month as well. At the beginning of this month, I went to Baltimore, Maryland, which is my hometown, to host a bridal shower for my sister. I vlogged the entire trip, which I will link above if you're interested. I have a short little vlog of the shower itself. It's just like 3 minutes, just showing the decor and the food and things like that. And then I have 2 longer vlogs of the trip at large, and they're called like Baltimore Vlog Part 1 and Part 2 or something like that. So you can go check those out if you're interested. But that was the beginning of my month, and as always, it's so awesome to go home, see my grandparents, my cousins, my friends, my family, my immediate family, just getting to stay. You know, when I go to Baltimore, I stay with my parents in their house in my old bedroom, and it's like they've redone almost the whole house actually in the past however many years since I was living at home. But it's just really nice to be able to go home and just see familiar people and familiar sights and sounds. So that was, all in all, that was an awesome trip. It really it was so fun to start the month off in that way. So yeah, that was the beginning of the month. And then toward the middle of the month was actually my 2-year anniversary of moving up here. I moved up here about 2 weeks before we got married. So I moved into our little apartment, and Riley moved, he was living at home, and then we moved in together after we got married. So I cannot believe it's been 2 years since then. I can remember it like it was yesterday, but it was actually on, I think, July 17th or 18th that we packed up the U-Haul in Austin and moved up here. And last year, that date was like a dagger in my heart. I was having such a hard time on that day because you know, if you've watched this series, you know why. It was just a really tough day for me. But this year, July 17th came and it went, and it was just okay. And I feel like I'm in such a better place emotionally and mentally than I was at this time last year. And although I am not at my full, you know, mental and emotional stability and health, I don't think, progress is progress, and I'm thankful to be able to say that from last year to this year, I have made some progress in that area, and that date, which was no good last year, was really just okay this year. It was just kind of like, wow, it's been 2 years since I've lived up here, and I lived in Austin for 2 years, and that's crazy, you know, instead of being like this deep, sorrowful time. Just like last month, this month I was able to go on several different friend dates. I feel like I'm starting to find my social groups, so to speak, and trying to kind of figure that all out. It's a little unique. It's much harder to make friends as an adult than it is when you're in school. I mean, I found it to be so much harder. And actually, when I was at home in Baltimore, one of my cousins who was born and raised in Baltimore just like I was, and then met someone and got married in Baltimore and had a baby in Baltimore. So she's lived there for the past, 28 or 29 years of her life and has never moved except for college. She's been rooted, there in Baltimore. We were talking just briefly about this experience, and she was asking how my life was going, and I said, it's been good, but it's been, a struggle to meet friends and things like that. And I expected her to I mean, she's really kind, so I knew she wasn't going to say anything rude, but I just didn't think that she would necessarily understand that because she'd been living in the same place for so many years. But she said, I have found it so hard to meet adult friends too. She said, I just think it's really hard to make friends as an adult. And that was so comforting to me because I think that is a really universal experience for a lot of women coming out of high school or college, where it's a lot easier to meet people, and then getting into more of like, the real world or whatever you want to call it, where people kind of have their own pathways, and people are married, and some people have children, and all of those things just make it much more challenging. So hearing from her, who is someone who's been rooted in the same place for, almost 3 decades, it was one part surprising, but also one part comforting to me of like, okay, this is something that's, I think, really common. So anyway, I've continued to make strides in that area as much as possible, but it's definitely getting better and better month by month of just feeling more familiar. And even with the people who maybe I don't feel like I super click with, who are, at my church or I have gotten to know around town or whatever, there's still a level of familiarity that's starting to be a part of my interactions with them, even if, we're never going to be best friends. Just feeling like they're a familiar presence is like so awesome after not having felt that for so long. So in the social realm, I feel like there has been a lot of forward progress. This month, we also painted our master bedroom and kind of redecorated it and hung up curtains and just got a new bedspread and all these things. And I vlogged that weekend. It was 2 weekends ago. So I will pop that up in the card if you want to watch that, short vlog. But anyway, that was like a huge step for me because this is so funny. But like, first of all, I'm like a super nesty kind of person. That's probably a weird way to say it, but like I'm very much a homebody. I like to be at home and I like to be in my space, and I like my space to be the way that I like it to be, if that makes sense. And I'm very nesty. I'm always organizing things and that kind of thing. Well, for the past 2 years, I have largely been in denial that this is where I live, and this is going to be where I live likely for the next several years. the denial has been thick. And so instead of like painting and really investing in this house and really like spending time decorating the way that I normally would, I've avoided it because mentally I've been thinking, well, we're not gonna live here for that long. But I think as a part of this rooted journey, I've really come to realize and accept we are going to live here for a while. We will probably be here in Gainesville for the next 4 to 5 years minimum. There are so many reasons why that is, and I'm not going to go into all of those right now, but that's just the facts of the situation. And I feel like I'm finally in a place where I'm not in denial. I'm not jumping up and down happy about that, but I'm not in denial, which I was. So anyway, the reason why we haven't painted like any of our whole house almost is like this builder beige, which is what it was when we moved in, is because I haven't wanted to spend time or money or effort on decorating a space that I'm about to move out of. But I'm not about to move out of it. So it was really great this month to be able to do our bedroom and really have like a safe haven at night to go into. Like I love taking a bath or a hot shower at night and crawling into bed, and it's now like this gorgeous blue color and it's so relaxing and it feels a lot like us, like my style and my husband's style, rather than just like a beige, you know, just blank slate. So I know that sounds kind of silly, but basically I'm not in denial anymore, and because of that, that kind of helped me move forward in terms of painting and decorating our room. A couple more things. I've gotten more and more involved in the kids ministry at our church. I ran a volunteer meeting a couple Sundays ago. I have been designing and printing off posters and documents and working on curriculum and getting that all printed, and just I've really jumped into that role. My pastor and his wife have asked me, you know, they're like, if you are willing to, we would love your help. And so I've really been able to jump into that. I had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. I have another meeting with them in a couple days right before we leave for a trip. And so it's been really cool to see the fruit of that, you know, being able to kind of get plugged in that way, in an area where I do have some experience and I can kind of bring that to the table. It's been really fun. So that's kind of a whole other thing, but kind of being able to volunteer my time and effort to help out with our church has been really awesome this month. One thing that happened this month that was such an encouragement to my spirit was a few Sundays ago after church, my pastor's wife, Jenny, who I've mentioned a couple of times before, she just had her third baby boy, and I actually hosted a bridal shower for her, which I know that I've mentioned in this series. I think I hosted it in April with another woman at church who I've become friends with. So we're definitely very friendly. And anyway, she came up to me after church, and she knows a little bit about the struggle that it's been for me for the past couple of years. And she came up to me and she said, Blair, I just have to tell you that every time over the past month that I have prayed for you, the word flourish has come to my mind. And she said, I just feel like God keeps putting this word flourish in my mind every single time I pray for you, and I just wanted to pass that on to you. And on that Sunday, I was actually wearing that necklace that I shared in, I think maybe my January rooted video. It has a little tree on it, and I like just held it and I said, oh my gosh, Jenny, I know that you don't know this, but my word for this year has been rooted, and I've just been really trying to feel rooted here. And I think it's so cool that you, the word flourish evokes imagery for me of a flower or something like a plant, to me, that's at least. And so it just kind of all went together, but it was such confirmation for me that God is so present through this experience. I said that last month. I will continue to say that. He is so faithful. I'm so amazed through the struggle how much I have felt the Lord's presence near me and with me, guiding me, and it's just been amazing. But to hear that from someone who is on the outside, who just said, God is giving me the word flourish whenever I pray for you, like, it brings me to tears. It's just so awesome. Like, yes, that is what I want. That is what we are going for, is flourishing. Of course, getting rooted is the first step, but blooming and flourishing is the ultimate goal. And so that was just such a neat, special thing, little conversation that happened this month. Finally, this month is my 2-year wedding anniversary on July 31st. And like I said, we're heading to Seattle in just a couple of days now. I'm going to vlog that trip, so if you're interested in checking that out, be sure to stay tuned on this channel. Other than that, which is something amazing, and I could go on and on about how awesome it is that we've been married for 2 years and how precious our marriage is to me and what a gift Riley is, but I'll save you all that and just say I'm so thankful to have been married for the past 2 years, and that is something that is definitely worth celebrating, and I'm really excited that we are going to get away. Other than that, that is basically it. That's really all that's been going on this month. It's been a really awesome month. I look forward to what August holds. I know that we have one trip in August up to Baltimore for my sister's wedding, which will be really special. But other than that, we're going to be here, so hopefully I'll have some good time to continue to root myself in the community and in my relationships here in Gainesville. If you are going through anything like this, or if you just want to chat, as always, you're welcome to email me. You're welcome to comment below, comment on my blog post. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is Blair Blogs. You can follow me wherever on Facebook, and we will connect there. And I just would love to chat with you and hear how your word for the year is going, or if you made a New Year's resolution, how that's all going. Just would love to connect. Make sure you like this video if you've been enjoying this Rooted series, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this and also videos about all kinds of other things. I really appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you next month. Bye guys!